Please let me know if you can hear me. I'm very sorry for the delay. But apparently, hardware accelerator or using the GPU, the graphical processor unit, to process the stream, I need that. Otherwise, the central processing unit is getting taxed quite a bit. And apparently, hardware acceleration or hardware processing in the newest OBS wasn't an option anymore, didn't work anymore. The stream output could not be processed because apparently my drivers were out of date, which, yeah, how can that even happen if you have the NVIDIA app that should be checking for updates and keeping your drivers up to date? Apparently didn't do that. So thanks for that, NVIDIA. So I had to download the new drivers, which are apparently almost a gigabyte just for the initial installer for your graphics driver. For fuck's sake, what are we doing here? And yeah, that then also meant that I downloaded that. And now I need to find my stream again. Yeah, I downloaded that almost a gigabyte, and during the installation process, it then needed to download even more data, which is, I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Let's be honest. A gigabyte for a driver. I remember buying PC magazines back in the 90s, and there was in the early days, when I was in maybe 5th, 6th grade, they didn't come with CDs or not with DVDs, and not even with CDs. They came with 3.5-inch floppies, and there were, I don't know how many drivers on that. And that thing, such a floppy disk, a 3.5-inch, I think it is, that takes 1.44 megabytes, and there were hundreds of drivers on those fuckers. And nowadays, NVIDIA, for one driver, needs 890 megabytes for the initial download, just so you can start the installation process. It will download another gigabyte during the installation process, which is crazy. But anyway, welcome back to Bescheuertes Kurzes Bein. Yeah, I said that I will do, kind of a hangout stream, more or less. Not necessarily a live commentary stream, as I said. So if you have any questions, because this is basically me just being a bit angry about what's going on in cricket at the moment. But I can also tell you that you are not missing that much cricket, because I was delayed by driver updates, and the match in Port of Spain is delayed by a wet outfield. I can tell you that West Indies won the toss and they have chosen to bat. Let's have a look at some of the, let's say, we can look at the teams. Apparently, there is a bit of a controversy about the Pakistan selection, going in with only 2 seamers, one of which is a debutant. The Pakistan team is indeed Azan Awais, Imam ul Haq are opening. Abdullah Shafiq slots back in at number 3 for Shan Masood, who seems to be out of the the team because he broke his, or he fractured his index finger, I think, during the first match of the series. Babar Azam remains the captain at number 4. Mohammad Rizwan, the wicketkeeper, follows him at number 5. Salman Ali Aga, the former captain, and I can't keep up with all the captaincy changes in the Pakistan cricket team. So there's probably even more former captains in this squad. Babar Azam is probably about 5 of them, because he is obviously now captain. He has been sacked by the board. He has stood down as captain out of his own volition, free will, whatever. And now he's captain again, which is kind of interesting in the grand scheme of things. Looking at you, England. At number 7, after Salman Ali Aga, who is at 6, is Awais Zafar. Ali Usman is at 8. Sajid Khan is at 9. 10 is Muhammad Ali. And 11 is Ubaid Shah. And Awais Zafar and Ubaid Shah are actually the debutants for the Pakistanis. And let's have a look which one is the seamer that is making his debut in this match. No, it is not Awais Zafar. He is apparently a middle order batter. Ubaid Shah, I think, should be the seamer on debut for Pakistan here in Port of Spain. Let's have a look. ESPN Crick Info. Yes, right arm fast medium. Ubaid Shah, he's 20 years old. He has played 16 first class matches. His bowling average is 25.2, which is, I would say, respectable, but it's not that huge of a sample size. 16 matches. He has 72 test wickets. His batting average is a lowly 7.95, which I think is worse than Glenn McGrath, if I remember correctly. The West Indies team, to complete it, or to give you that one as well, is Taganarayan Chanderpaul and Brandon King opening. Number 3 is Kavim Hodge. 4 is the keeper, Shea Hope. Amir Jangu is at 5. Justin Greaves at 6. 7 is Roston Chase, the captain. Jamal Warrican at 8. Chama Joseph, Kima Roach, and Jaden Seals bring up the tail. And I can tell you that apparently the outfield has dried sufficiently for the players to come out. So yeah, let's have a look if anyone is watching this. Apparently there are 2 people watching at the moment, so please don't be shy and say hi in the chat. Brian in Brisbane is there. Hi Brian, how are we today? Yeah, I was making a few jokes about Babar Azam being the captain again, because we basically have the same situation in England, more or less, with Joe Root, who stepped down from the captaincy after the 2021 of the COVID series in the Caribbean. A 3-match series that England lost in the final test of the series. They lost it 1-0. The first 2 matches were draws, and in the final match of the series, the West Indies were able to best England. And after that one, Joe Root stepped down. Ben Stokes, who had been groomed, to be fair, as his successor, stepped up and captained England. Now that now that Stokes has basically drenched the whole England setup, I'm not going to say in gasoline, but in Strohrum, which is 80% by volume, poison from Austria, and flambéed the whole setup basically by what he did on the 4th day at Trent Bridge. So Ben Stokes gave up his post, his captaincy. Brendan McCullum was then sacked, and suddenly Joe Root is back as the captain of England. And he said all the right things, very, very well coached in all matters, public relations wise, is Joe Root. And he, of course, said the things that probably Rob Key wants to hear him say, and that is basically, he is very keen on taking up the captaincy again, looking at the new generation of England players, and he's very happy to be their mentor and guide England into the future of this new generation and all that good stuff. Only to have Rob Key just one week later turn around and stick the knife into his back by implying that Ben Stokes might actually come back for the next Ashes, which will take place in 2027 in England. Because let's face it, both of them have an abysmal captaincy record in the Ashes, and I think thinking about it, I think the one of Stokes should actually be better than that of Joe Root, because Joe Root captained in 15 Ashes tests. He won 2, lost 9, and drew 4. Because he captained in the Ashes from 2019. He captained in 3 Ashes series starting in 2019. And England won none of those series. They didn't win any matches down under. Or can that actually be? Oh no! He captained in two Ashes series down under, didn't he? In no, the last Ashes series was 17-18, I think, before Cook retired, and that's when Root would take over, I think. Or did Root take over before Cook retired? I have to look it up. Brian Brisbane is, Farong says, also says, Wibble, will Joe Root's form dip again when he returns to be captain? Stokes should be nowhere near the 27 Ashes, given he decided to retire from Test. Yes, but that is my point, Brian. And first of all, hello and welcome, Farong. Good to have some company here. Yeah. I found that really weird that the Key, apparently he basically said that in an interview, and I did not see or listen to the whole interview, but apparently it was relatively unprompted. He came out with that Stokes might actually return for the 2027 Ashes, and I didn't talk about it on this channel in English because I thought, that's all the stuff that is probably well covered in the English language on the internet. I'm thinking every cricket podcast has talked about it, about the absolute madness that is the England camp at the moment. So I did a German language video talking about all this stuff, and I pressed publish basically on that video, and about 2 hours later, Rob Key comes out with that. Ben Stokes might be back for the 2027 Ashes. And it was a wild week. Let's put it a bit into perspective, because they announced Stephen Fleming as the new England head coach going forward, the new permanent head coach for the English men's team. And after Brendan McCullum had been sacked, Chris Silverwood, who was Brendan McCullum's predecessor, he was brought in an interim role to pick up the pieces that Baz left behind. And he will not be the red ball coach for the upcoming Pakistan series, because that will fall onto the replacement interim coach, Marcus Trescothick, which probably, well, I guess any chafe will be very, very happy that Marcus Trescothick will be England red ball head coach for at least a certain period of time. But that is not a settled or stable environment for this test side. I predicted, and I'm tapping myself on the shoulder for that one, I predicted that Harry Brook would not become Ben Stokes' successor as permanent England captain. Because when the Lords debacle, the London debacle, latest in a series of nightclub-related debacles that England have faced. After that test, when Stokes and Atkinson, they were suspended, but it came out in I think I read it on the BBC. They said that 6 of the playing 11 were in that nightclub where some England security guy got into a bit of a scruff with a Saracens rugby player that, judging by the name, comes somewhere from the Pacific area of the world. And yeah, Stokes and Gus Atkinson were shit-canned for that incident. But in the next test, when Joe Root took over as interim or as replacement captain, while Brook had been vice captain for the Lord's test, he was not named in the report on the BBC side, but he was quietly dropped as vice captain for the Oval test, I think it was. Second one, I think, was played at the Oval. Third one in Trent Bridge. According to Greek Info, he wasn't the vice captain for the second test, while Root became the stand-in captain. And then Ben Stokes got his standing back, got his post back. He was made again the captain for the third test, and how that one ended, we all know. But Harry Brook was not given the vice captaincy back. England played the second and third test in the New Zealand series without a vice captain, which is, I think, or I thought at the time, was noticeable, remarkable. Not on the field of play, they were absolute dog shit in both those tests. But yeah, it's a mess, and I was really interested in this West Indies Pakistan series because obviously Pakistan, the next assignment for Pakistan will be touring England after the Caribbean adventure they are on at the moment. And it is two sides that are in turmoil, and they are not that far off from each other in the World Test Championship table, actually. Because there's a real grouping down at the bottom, below 25% of available points made. And that is England, who are in 7th. The West Indies are shortly behind England, I think, at the moment. And then there is a notable jump. And then it is Sri Lanka, who have made, I think, 40% of their have taken about 40% of the available points. Let's have a look. I'm opening the table right now. Yeah, okay, so let's have a look at the table. Australia and South Africa are comfortably, not that comfortably. Australia are comfortably top of the table. They made 87.5% of the available points. They will have 2 matches against Bangladesh upcoming, and then I think there is a South Africa series looming in their near future. Yes, at least 3 tests, because for South Africa, who are on 75%, the next 3 matches will be against Australia. New Zealand will face India in 2 tests, then Australia, and they are less than 3 percentage points behind South Africa in 3rd place. Funny thing is that Bangladesh is about 10 percentage points ahead of India. They are on 58.33. I don't think they will win against Australia, but you should never rule it out. I think is this the first series in quite a long time that Australia will travel? No, it's a tour of Australia. Bangladesh tour of Australia. Yeah, they're not winning anything in Australia. So that might change. India might catch up to Bangladesh a bit more. But in 6th place is Sri Lanka. They're on 41.67 percentage points. And then it is England, and they're over 15 percentage points behind Sri Lanka. They're on 24.36. West Indies are 22.73, and Pakistan are the only team on this World Test Championship table who are in single digits before the dot. 6.67% of all available points Pakistan have won, and they will now face England, who won 2 of their last 5 tests. The latest first, the latest win was obviously the series opener against New Zealand, and the other win in their last 5 matches is the Boxing Day test in Melbourne at the MCG. So let's have a look at what people are saying. Farong obviously advocates for the lad to be made captain. Duckett should be captain. Only 8 months to IPL, but Hardik to CSK. Yeah, that's a bit of a shocker. It's almost as heartbreaking for a Mumbai Indians fan as it was when Harbhajan went from the Mumbai Indians to the Chennai Super Kings. I think he was one of the first ones to switch sides in this great rivalry between Chennai Super Kings and the Mumbai Indians. After it had started, I mean, it's been going on for quite a while, with Dhoni being the leader of CSK from the start, and in the beginning, Sachin was the captain of the Mumbai Indians. And but I mean, it wasn't really all that much of a rivalry during the early seasons of the IPL, I don't think, because Mumbai Indians were frankly shit. They won their first they won their first championship in I think 5 years in or something like that. It was I remember it was the season when Sachin finally gave up the captaincy of the Mumbai Indians. Ricky Ponting took over. Ponting got injured during that season, and Rohit Sharma took over as captain of the Mumbai Indians, and then went on to win 5 championships as captain for them, I think. Brian in Brisbane is saying Rob Key's comments about England's potential is a real shafting for the current players and their playing style, given Key is part of the playing style. Yeah, he is a Rob Key. I mean, I really liked Rob Key back in the day. He was I mean, he didn't have that long of a test career. I think he played less than 10 tests or something like that. He's not known for his test career. But he became a very good part of the Sky Broadcasting team. And that is just my impression. But I really liked Rob Key on Sky, because some of the best behind the scenes or editorial and pundit editorial pieces and punditry and master classes and stuff like that, Rob Key was always part of that, because obviously Rob Key, a longtime servant of Kent, and who played for Kent and was a very, very good mate of Key's. That's right, it was Murali. And so Key is a really good friend of Murali, and I think he was the key figure that got Sky access to Sri Lanka and to Murali especially, and Sri Lanka in general. They did a very, very interesting piece on the Foundation for Goodness when England were in Sri Lanka, I think 2 tours back, and it was they did all that stuff. You can watch it on YouTube. There is a Murali masterclass on off spin, which is very, 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 very funny, because Nasser Hussain is the batsman who is chosen to face Murali on an artificial wicket, and Murali is bowling, and he talks to Key and briefs Key, or gives Key some insight into what he's going to bowl and stuff like that, because they like each other, they know each other, and stuff like that. And I think it's very funny, because Nasser he couldn't read Murali back then when he played against him, and he still can't. So that's all good fun, and especially funny was, I think it was around this time when England were touring, or was there some? No, I think it was an England tour, and they are recording a podcast. Sky obviously has a cricket podcast, and it is, the hosts at the time were, I think it was Athers, Key, and Wardy, or Nasser and Key and Wardy, and for some reason, probably because the venues for the 2 tests were on opposite sides of the island, or quite far apart. I think one was Kandy and one is Colombo. So Kandy is in the Central Highlands, and Colombo is obviously by the sea. And contrary to Gary Naylor's theory, the proximity to salt water is not what is good for swing, because Gaul. Did I say Colombo? I mean Gaul, and Gaul is a Pacers graveyard. Even though it is surrounded by basically 3 sides by salt water. Go figure. So they are driving in a micro van. Apparently, they are driving in a micro van through the Central Highlands and down to the coast, and they are driving through the jungle in a micro van. One of those, I don't know, Mitsubishi micro vans. You probably know this. They look like Hot Wheels or something out of a cartoony kart racing game for your Xbox, your PlayStation, or your PC. And apparently, their driver, he's very, very good, but apparently they are under a bit of time pressure. So the clock is ticking, and he puts the foot in it. And NASA and Key are much more comfortable or much more, let's say, they have their experiences with Sri Lankan drivers, apparently. And Wadi does not. And he is in a panic during the whole recording of that podcast. It's glorious. NASA and Key are talking about the cricket and stuff like that. And Wadi has nothing to contribute to that conversation. But he is, every 2 or 3 minutes, he is describing how he will die in the next 45 minutes. It's really glorious, and he was really, really good as a pundit, as a podcaster, as a host on Sky Sports, and he always came across as, well, as someone who was very aware of the fact that the ECB and cricket in England, cricket in England specifically, and cricket worldwide, more broadly speaking, they have a problem with people in the administration that are too conservative, in the sense that this is how we have been doing it for 100 years or 150 years, and I am the one that will make sure that we will do it for the next 150 years as well. And Key always came across as someone who seemed very aware of why that stance is problematic. And he, before he came into power, was always someone to advocate for reform, for modernization, for pushing the game forward, or acknowledging the fact that this is not the 20th century anymore, let alone the 19th. And then he came into power, and he basically did. He changed totally. Because he did all the stuff that he was criticizing for very good reasons as a pundit, as a journalist. Just look at England under Rob Key, giving Zach Crawley, I think, 66 tests. He played almost 70 tests, and he played more than 50 of those tests as opener. And he averages around 25 as an opening batsman for England in 50 tests. And then you find out, okay, yeah, sure, Key is a mate of his dad's. Go figure. So let's have a look at the chat. I have actually... I had to close the tab where I monitor the live stream on YouTube, because it is really hot. And I don't want to tax my poor beat up, almost 10 years old laptop that I am doing this on. So yeah, Rob Key's comments about England's potential. Yeah, that's still the latest comment is Brian in Brisbane. Yeah, and I mean he's not only is he shafting the the new players, he's also shafting basically his former colleagues, because he used to be one of those that advocated against all the stuff that he is now doing. Once he has he is in a position of power, and that is the worst. There's a bee in here. There is actually another bee in here. I have a garden in front of my windows, and there is lavender standing in that garden. And what do bees and bumblebees love more than anything? That's right, they love lavender. And because it is so hot, I need to keep my windows open to create some airflow. And yeah, they always come in here. You will have to forgive me. I will have to get rid of the bee for a moment, because I don't want to be stung. I was stung as a kid by a bee. That was not really that's not really something I want to repeat. So give me a minute. Okay, looks like I got the bee out. Thankfully. Match info. There we are. So I can also tell you that in the match at the moment, the West Indies, who won the toss and have decided to bat first, they are currently 28 without loss. Chandler Paul is on 11 of 21. And Brandon King, on the other end, is going at a runner ball. Strike rate of 100, 16 of 16 for him. And currently, Muhammad Ali is bowling, who has figures of none for 10 from 3.1 overs. And in he comes again, and this one is smuggled through the slips by Chanderpaul, who moves on to 15. So yeah, I mean, this is he came into the setup as the modernists candidate after Ashley Giles was basically the establishment's darling or candidate before him. And yeah, he has just turned into the next Ashley Giles. And I mean, apart from the fact that Root is not someone I would think should return to the captaincy full time. He has captained England in more tests than anyone else. I think Root has captained England in 65 tests. I don't think anyone has won more tests than Root. But on the flip side of that, no one has lost as many tests as captain as Root has, I think. Because he won 27, but he also lost 27, which leaves us with 11 draws in his captaincy career. And I just don't think that he needs to add to that record, really. And yeah, I mean, obviously, Harry Brook is a flawed candidate for England captaincy as well, because England have been burned now by Ben Stokes and his, first of all, his disciplinary issues. Let's call it that. Yeah, let's call it disciplinary issues with Stokes. I'm not trying to defend Stokes here, but I really think that the embargo situation, which was the first nightclub incident of Ben Stokes that we heard of as punters, that was the one where he broke the dude's, I think, orbital bone or something like that. So he really did some damage there. But apparently, he was basically in the right, because he got into the scuffle because the dude that he, in the end, knocked in the head, he had been harassing a gay couple, and Stokes had told him, "Stop it, dude," and the guy didn't want to stop. And things escalated, and yeah, I don't want to escalate. I wouldn't want to escalate things with an angry Ben Stokes, and he was out of Test cricket for a year, and the ECB actually handled that quite badly. He was done dirty by the ECB in that instance, because they didn't really ask what happened. They hung him out to dry. He missed the disastrous 2017-18 Ashes series down under as part of that ban, and it's probably the best that could have happened to him from a career perspective, because basically everyone came out of that tour damaged or their career diminished. And he doesn't have that black mark on his record. He was not part of that side. I'm not 100% certain if Joe Root if Joe Root is, or if Ben Stokes would have been England captain if he had been on that tour. I'm really not certain. Obviously, there's the amazing Headingley, the second wonder of Headingley, miracle of Headingley. I should say, I think it's in English it's generally referred to as the miracle of Headingley. The wonders are reserved for Germans and for us. The wonders are us, are ours. Das Wunder von Bern. Sönke Wortmann actually made a movie about that, which I'm told is apparently not shit. I've never heard it being called a masterpiece though. So there's that. Yeah, no, but I mean, Harry Brook he's a poisoned chalice at this point. He had disciplinary issues, also related to nightclubs, and more than one. He isn't, or his involvement in the partying after winning at Lord's in the New Zealand series isn't the first time that Harry Brook got into trouble in a nightclub. The last test tour, or the last tour down to New Zealand, he was involved in a nightclub incident where he got flattened by a bouncer in a Christchurch nightclub, I think. So yeah, that I think is the reason why he lost the vice captaincy. And yeah, I mean, who else do they have? Yeah, Farong, you are right. Obviously, Ben Duckett is probably their best bet. It's either him or probably Jamie Smith, I think. But I'm unsure about Jamie Smith, to be honest. Let's have a look. Brian says Eric the half a B German cousin. Yeah. And Farong says Stokes did a major disservice to England, especially in the bowling department, by getting himself to 250 wickets, but denying the lad a chance of being promoted to all-rounder status. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that Ben Stokes is not a good cricketer. He is, after all, one of only two cricketers to, what was it, make over 7,000 runs and take more than 250 test wickets. It's him and Cullis. Him and Jacques Cullis are the only two cricketers to be part of that club. And I mean, those are, for a very long time, Cullis's numbers were for, if any American is listening, or someone, maybe there are some Germans listening, I don't know. Or maybe there are people listening that are new to cricket. In this case, hello. And you are very, very welcome. Please come, say hi in the chat. Also, everyone, don't forget to like the video, and if you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. No, the numbers that Cullis put up, they are for baseball fans. That's Shohei Ohtani numbers. That is like the 50-50 club. Only member Shohei Ohtani. To the not baseball people, that means the 50-50 club is players can become members of that one if you hit, in one season, if you hit 50 home runs and also steal 50 bases. And so far, only Shohei Ohtani has done that, because and I don't think that we will see a second member of the 50-50 club. This is a tangent, I know. I don't think we will see another member of the 50-50 club in at least the next 20 years. Because there are plenty of people who can hit 50 home runs in a season, probably. But stealing bases relies on a very different set of skills than hitting home runs. For home runs, you need raw power, standing in the batter's box, and raw power with the bat. And probably the best hitters in baseball currently are designated hitters. They invented a whole new position on baseball teams, a whole new job on baseball teams, to not have the pitcher bat. And from the 70s until the COVID pandemic, half of the baseball world in the USA did have designated hitters, and the other half didn't have designated hitters. Since the COVID pandemic, all of the baseball world has designated hitters, and it's people like Papi Sandoval, and that is a guy that looks like Rakeem Cornwell. He doesn't sprint from base to base. He hits a home run or he is out. Basically, he doesn't take singles. If he gets on base, it's via a home run. It's not via a single or a double or something like that. Or speaking in baseball terms, if Papi Sandoval, no, it's not Papi Sandoval. What's his name? David Ortiz. David Ortiz. That's the guy I'm thinking of. Designated hitter for the Red Sox, Boston Red Sox. He's a fat fuck, and he hits home runs for fun. If he would hit what for other players would be a double, it's a single to David Ortiz. Yeah, so he doesn't hustle on the base paths. And that is why Shohei Ohtani's 50-50 accomplishment is so remarkable. Because people that hit home runs generally do not steal bases. To bring you some updates from the game, we have started the 10th over, and Brandon King is Brandon King is playing baseball here. He's on 33 of 27, while Ryan Chanderpaul is bringing glory to the name Chanderpaul. He's on 15 of 28, and I think from here on he should slow down, otherwise his dad might get embarrassed. In the first test, he made a dentury, faced over 100 deliveries at a strike rate of around 35, something like that. And here his strike rate is over 50. 50 for a Chanderpaul. The West Indies are 49 without loss, and the half century is coming up. Ali is bowling again, is 5th over, none for 14. Let's have a look at the chat. That is, as I said, that is basically the main reason I am doing this. And Farong is asking, interesting stat. There is only one player who has taken 10 wickets in a test and also scored 100 in both innings of a test. Obviously, this didn't occur in the same test. Who is the player? That's a good question. Wrong. taken 10 in a test and also scored a century in both innings of a test. So, what do we think? I'm not thinking bowler here. My thought process is the following. I am thinking golden arms. Who scored twin centuries? The first one that comes to mind is obviously Steve Waugh. Not for twin centuries. Not for 10 wickets in a match, but for twin centuries. Reason being, and Chanderpaul has just fallen. The 10th over, the West Indies cannot get their half century without losing a wicket. Chanderpaul holds out 2. Who is that? He holds out to deep fine leg. And that is a glorious moustache. Not a moustache. He has a full beard. Sajid. It is Sajid. And he has a glorious full beard, but he actually seems to wax the tips of his moustache. Reminds me, well, for English speaking audiences, it would probably the reference would be Hercule Poirot. For me, it will probably always be Der Untertan, which is the subject in the sense of subject of a ruler, in this case an emperor. It's a German film about the Kaiserreich and specifically the Kaiserreich of Wilhelm II, the emperor that ruled Germany during World War I. Who famously had a moustache that he waxed, and that, yeah, I don't know. We Germans have a bit of a predilection for undemocratic rulers that are obsessed with shit moustaches. As I'm now seeing that there are the tarps are coming out. The ground staff is running in the square. I think they are covering the square at the moment. The players are coming off. The umpires are coming off. I will give you updates as soon as I get them. I'm obviously not listening to the sound, but I can give you the stats for the first wicket. Trinarayan Chanderpaul caught Sajid Khan, bowled Muhammad Ali for 15 of 32, strike rate of 46.87. So, back to Farong's question. I have been distracted, I admit. So twin hundreds and 10 wickets in his career, not in the same match, which would be off the charts crazy. Farong gives us a few more hints. He scored 115 not out and 153 against Pakistan in 1980. He took 11 for 96 against the West Indies in 1989. That's a bit that's a bit before my time, I have to admit, for wrong. And yeah, no, let me continue explaining my thought process. So first of all the players I was thinking about, they are out. But whenever someone mentions twin hundreds in a test, the first name that comes to mind is Steve Waugh, because I'm a fan of Dan Liebke and Alex Bowden's The Ridiculous Ashes podcast, and in the 1997 Ashes series, which is the first season of the podcast that they do. They examine historical Ashes series, and each test gets an episode, and they go through the test and they go through the ridiculous moments of the test. And the first series they do is the 1997 Ashes. And Steve Waugh makes twin hundreds in one of the tests. And his brother Mark is also playing in the test. And Dan makes a joke about this being known as Stephen Waugh's twin hundreds, and he likes to think of them not as Stephen Waugh's twin hundreds, but as Mark Waugh's twins hundreds. So, yeah. And Farong has given us the answer. It's Alan Border. I mean, I think that is... I probably wouldn't have gotten Alan Border, but he's definitely in the category of player that I would have thought accomplished that feat. I.e., golden arms, or as you might call them, occasional bowlers. Of which, who is... And now I'm asking you a question. Who is the greatest golden arm of all time, according to KingCricket.com? Oh! Oh no, that's not live. They are showing replays from 2005, where one of the groundsmen is coming out with a wheelbarrow full of sawdust to fill in holes in the pitch, and he comes on, and then he tries to run off, and he falls down, and his wheelbarrow runs along the ground out of control and tips over a bit. And apparently that guy is still the groundsman, or still a groundsman 20 years later. Seems to have only 2 teeth left in his upper jaw. Poor guy. Yeah, I would have probably thought about a golden arm, one of those options out of left field that you throw the ball to if you run out of ideas, options, stuff like that. And Brian in Brisbane says, aka Captain Grumpy, was a New South Wales player, but came to Queensland and eventually won the Sheffield Shield with Queensland. Queensland. Oh, Queensland. Don't get me started. Dan also made a very, very funny joke recently about Queensland. About... what was it about? Education standards and Queenslanders not being able to read, and he apologized a few minutes later for that tweet saying, I'm sorry about making fun of Queensland literacy levels. I duly apologize to all Queenslanders who have this apology read to them. But now back to the cricket. Alex Bowden had an article a few years ago on his website kingcricket.co.uk, and if anyone is listening who listened to my or who watched my some of my recent videos, I think one time I called it or named it as kingcricket.com. That's not correct. It is kingcricket.co.uk. And he had a very, very good article where he looked at golden arms, i.e. occasional bowlers, something like Joe Root. And I think he came to the conclusion that Simon Katich is the greatest golden arm of all time. He didn't bowl a lot, which would disqualify him as a golden arm or an occasional bowler, which is fair enough. But if he did bowl, he took quite a few wickets at quite a good average and a very low strike rate. So yeah, so there's that. Simon Katich, obviously also one of the all-time legends, or one of the modern legends. Let's put it that way. One of the modern legends in the Australian setup, not just because of his on-field endeavors. And I can also tell you that that my stream has now switched over to the Oval, where they are playing the 100, and I don't know who's playing who. I don't even know what the teams in the 100 are called. I have to admit, it's a women's 100 match, and is it Sunrisers Leeds? It's Meg Lanning and Smriti Mandhana batting. I can tell you that. The fielding side are the local Mumbai Indians franchise. And I think, oh no, it's the Super Giants franchise. But anyway, did you all see that kerfuffle that erupted over the, I think it's the Sunrisers Leeds team song and the video that they published about all of the players singing the new team song, with the lyrics printed out on sheets, and everyone is standing around in the dressing room and trying to sing that song, and none of them can sing, and stuff like that. Did you see that? It was amazing. Sunrisers Leeds took down the video after everyone and their mothers made fun of them on the internet for even posting that shit. They took that down and thought, yeah, that is that. I think we're good. But obviously, people had downloaded that video and mirrored it over on YouTube. It's on TikTok. It's everywhere. Look for Sunrisers Leeds team song. Joss Butler and Stuart Broad talk about it on their podcast that you can also watch here on YouTube. It's called For the Love of Cricket with Stuart Broad and Joss Butler. And apparently, internally or in the team, Joss Butler's nickname isn't Joss, it's Jose. I can say that because they talk about that. Apparently, they were playing FIFA, one one of the editions of the FIFA video game in the dressing room during some tour or during some series. And or is it FIFA or is it Football Manager? One of the two. I can't really remember because I don't really care for football that much. But it might have actually been Football Manager. And Joss Butler created a fictional manager as his playing persona, and he called him Jose, and therefore Joss Butler's nickname in the England squad, in the England dressing room, is not Joss but Jose. Which I find quite funny, because I mean, yeah, it works. His real name is Joseph, so same as Joe Root, which is why I sometimes call them Joss Root and Joe Butler, which a lot of people don't seem to get. Anyway, let's take a very, very short break, and I will be back with you in about 2-3 minutes, maybe 5. And I will in that time look up if we can have any, or if we can see any updates on the weather in Port of Spain. And yeah, I will be back in about 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back. Well, welcome back. As I said, I would be back, and here I am. Um, according to Quick Info, there are still dark clouds around, but there is also the sun peeking out behind them. So, apparently, an early lunch has not been called yet. Quick update: West Indies won the toss, decided to bet, and are currently 49-1. Tagnarine Chandapal being the unfortunate first West Indian to fall. He was out. Let me give you the details. Caught Sajid Khan, bowled Muhammad Ali. 15 of 32 deliveries with a strike rate of 46.87. So, yeah, I don't have any words on an early lunch, which should be about half an hour away at the moment. Yeah, which basically gives me an opportunity to talk about something that apparently has come up. I don't know if you watched all, or if you watched the English language videos that I have published over the last few days. I know there is the German language update one in that one, but there are two English language videos that I recently published. The first one being about the enshittification and the rise of slop in the YouTube, in the cricket tube space, because that's apparently how we do things now. We call it cricket tube, not cricket on YouTube. But yeah, I was really that was one that I was really fed up with. Or I'm not fed up with the video, obviously. I'm fed up with the situation, because slop and AI generated content has been on the rise in all spheres, on not just on YouTube, but basically everywhere in our society. And I personally, I can't stand it. And if you have watched that video, the final stage that I talk about in that video is a YouTube channel that is all AI generated bullshit. Let's put it mildly. That is in Germany we would call it Schnittmenge. That is at the center of a Venn diagram of AI generated cricket content, because there's also a lot of other AI generated cricket content, explaining everything from every cricket shot explained, every cricket delivery explained, stuff like that. All of that is horrible, because there are so many errors in those AI generated scripts, and all the graphics are also AI generated, and so there are bowlers with 3 arms, reminding me of The Moat in God's Eye by Larry Niven and Jerry Pournelle, where there is an alien species that has an anatomy that is not symmetrical. They have 2 arms on one side, one on the other, and there are a lot of bowlers having more than 2 arms and stuff in that, and all that horrible shit. And but that that YouTube channel is in the Venn diagram of AI generated cricket content and AI generated conspiracy content. And that channel, I think, has 50 subscribers. But YouTube is aggressively pushing that channel, and their videos are monetized. They have 50 subscribers and they are monetized. YouTube plays ads before that stuff. And it's exactly what you would expect. Their angle for the Daryl Hare controversy is anti-white racism and conspiracy theories and stuff like that, which, no. Dude was a horribly corrupt bastard, and he is out of cricket for a really, really good reason. It's not anti-white conspiracy theories, dudes. But I think the fact that this channel is monetized, and let me give you a bit of a behind the scenes look at this. My channel has to have 500 subscribers. So if you are watching this and are new and are not subscribed, I would respectfully ask you to subscribe so you don't miss anything on this channel. And also, so I can monetize this channel, because I need 500 subscribers to watch, to monetize this channel. And I don't get how a channel that has even fewer subscribers than me can be monetized. I also don't get how such blatant conspiracy, idiocy, and race baiting, horrendous content can never be monetized, to be honest. Anyway, I had good news about 30 seconds ago. ESPN Cricinfo reported that the restart would be in 10 minutes at 11:40 a.m. local time. Now it is okay. Lockout. The covers are back on. It's raining one moment, then stopping. And it looks like we are in for one of those days. So, yeah, back to the if you are listening to this, or if you are watching this, and if you are new, please, I would really like to subscribe. I would be really happy if you would subscribe. I know it's a bit niche subscribing to a channel run by a German trans woman talking about cricket. I know that. But maybe, or I hope, that at least some of the stuff I say on this channel is a bit funny. And I know that some people find the stuff that I say funny, because I know that Cat Jones liked my video about my IPL all-time all-Sharmas 11. And she has kids with Dan Liebke and a podcast about cricket. So there's that. So let's have a look at the YouTube chat. And Farong says, Bumrah is out of the Sri Lanka Test series due to injury. Yeah, I read that. And yeah, there's... I mean... There is this really, really weird stat that if Bumrah plays for India, India lose more than they win. And all the bowlers perform worse, or the other bowlers perform worse than they do when Bumrah is not in the team. I'm not 100% certain what the reason is, but my suspicion is that they say, "Oh, okay, Jasprit is part of the team. It's okay if I do just 50%. If Bumrah is not part of the team, then all the other bowlers actually have to step up and have to bowl good." And Brian in Brisbane is saying, "I thought a YouTube channel can purchase extra likes and channel promotion." Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And yeah, okay. So let's get a bit into the weeds of the behind the scenes stuff on how YouTube runs. First of all, yeah, you can buy promotion, and or there are two sides to this, to buying promotion. First of all, YouTube actually gives you the option to have your content show up more on people's homepages, For You pages, whatever you want to call it. You have to pay YouTube for that, and then your channel does show up in on random people's, basically, For You page, which is a very, very double-edged sword, I would think. Because for all the talk that YouTube always gives about, we have the best, not necessarily predictive algorithm, but the best targeted ads and stuff like that. No, they don't. They are absolutely incompetent in that regard. And I have good reason to say this. I'm trans, and YouTube knows that I'm trans because I chose that gender marker. And first of all, let's talk about the gender selection when you do your YouTube, or when you create a new YouTube account. I can choose between 3 different gender options on my account. One is male, one is female, and one is T-girl. They call it that. T-girl, which is very demeaning. I'm in my 40s. I'm not a girl anymore. And T-girl is also a word that comes from the porn industry, which is not how you want to play this as a global corporation, in my opinion. But be that as it may, YouTube does know I am trans. And what are the most ads that are ran on my, if I use my cell phone, and use the YouTube app to watch videos? What videos or what advertisements do you think I get served by by YouTube who claim that they know all about me and can pinpoint their users for targeted advertising. What do you think I get advertised? Female hygiene products that I will never need. I will never need pads because I will never have a period. I also won't need any tampons. Not going to happen. I will also not need fertility enhancers for women because I will never bear children. The other thing that gets advertised to me are fucking dick pills. So, the first thing that gets advertised to me are products I will never need. The other thing are dick pills. Things I do not want. YouTube does not know what they are doing. And I mean, I'm look at it this way. What do I watch on YouTube? I'm watching stuff about Star Trek TV series from 30 years ago. And I'm watching cricket. That's the content I consume on YouTube. I watch comedy reviews of old Star Trek The Next Generation episodes, on Star Trek Deep Space Nine episodes, and other science fiction series. Okay, so I watched that. SF Debris, if you're asking. And I watch a lot of cricket content. And what do I get recommended on my front page? Which they have to mark as sponsored, at least in the European Union. Some girl that has a YouTube channel that is called Alina Loves Trash, where a Polish girl talks about trashy reality TV, which I don't watch. And I don't even watch YouTube content about trash TV, trashy reality TV. But it crops up on my front page all the time. And it annoys me. And that is the important point. It annoys me. Even if Alina Loves Trash would, for some reason, start making interesting and important and good content, I probably would not watch her because I have been annoyed for years by her videos popping up on my start page, which she paid for. Well, that is another thing, because you can pay YouTube to promote your videos on random people's start pages, and that is just not a thing that is viable for me, because I mean I'm making German language cricket content, and obviously, as we are listening to this live stream, obviously also some English language cricket content, but there is a lot of German language content on this cricket channel, and cricket is not the biggest sport in Germany. Do I really want to give YouTube money to put my videos up on the front page of random German people that don't even know what cricket is? The first thing when I tell people what I do or what I like, and I'm saying, yeah, I'm the only German language cricket YouTube channel that I know of. Oh, cricket! That's with the hammers where you have to whack the balls through the gates, isn't it? Yeah, no, that's croquet. But nice try. And the other thing is that it has always been a disaster. Monetization on YouTube has always been a disaster. It started out with, and we're going really deep into the weeds here because currently there is still no play in Port of Spain. So we have time to get into the weeds, as Brian informs me that the covers are coming off in Port of Spain, and I will be with you for that, but I think it will take some time. But monetization on YouTube has always been a bit of a disaster. In the beginning, there was no monetization at all. Then you had something that was called MCNs, multi-channel networks, where you had to have a corporation that basically acted as a network. And only if you were a corporation and you had registered a network on YouTube, you could then partner with creator channels. And if you were part of this multi-channel network, you could monetize your content. And the deals were horrendous for the content creators. Basically, the network, which basically did no work. They were just capitalists. They had money. They had proven to YouTube, hey, we have $500 million in some bank account somewhere. Can we please register a multi-channel network? And YouTube said, yes, that is fine. You can now monetize videos of creators that are affiliated with you. And we will pay you this, this, and this. And the networks then went out and said, okay, let's sign some YouTubers to our multi-channel network. And they dangled contracts in front of YouTubers and said, okay, you can now start to earn money by making YouTube videos, because before that there was no money in YouTube. And the YouTubers were very, very enthusiastic about this whole thing. First time in their lives they could get money for making YouTube videos. But the problem was they would probably get around 10% of the advertising money that was generated from the ads that ran on their videos. 90% of the money was taken by the multi-channel networks, which who basically did nothing. if you want to look into that era of YouTube a bit more closely, I can recommend you listening or looking on YouTube for the Machinima story or something like that. Machinima, Machinima. Machinima. That was one of the biggest YouTube multi-channel networks, and they exploited a lot of people. Machinima took 90% of the ad revenue of the creators and did nothing for it. It was a license to print money. They did take the copyright and the rights to all the videos the creators that were under contract for Machinima did, though. And the moment that YouTube changed their policy and allowed individual creators, regardless of membership in a multi-channel network, to monetize their videos, the Machinima business model collapsed. Machinima collapsed. You won't find the Machinima contents on YouTube anymore because they deleted their channels. Years and years of work of indentured creators were wiped out were wiped out overnight. That was the time in YouTube history when gaming content was king on the site. It was a very, very different time. No one who did anything that is remotely, well, respectable. I hate to use that word, but things like Gorilla Cricket or Deathmatch Sofa, for that matter, that wasn't even a thing on YouTube back in those days when that happened. It was mostly gaming, YouTube gaming content, let's plays, and what they called at the time gaming commentary and stuff like that. So videos where pre-recorded gameplay footage is played in the background and a narrator is talking about something that they are currently invested in or interested in or something like that. There were no maybe we can call it the video essay thing. Looking at YouTube today, it's a totally different platform. There is a lot of essays about video essays about anything, basically. Stuff like me would have never happened on YouTube 20 years ago. Because first of all, the restriction was, I think, 5 minutes. Videos were capped at 5 minutes. That was it. And most of the people that were uploading videos to YouTube were dudes that played video games, and mostly first-person shooters. And I would have felt even more unsafe back in those days than I do now. And I'm not really feeling safe on YouTube. But it was even worse back in the day. But YouTube changed those standards, the policy, what you need to do to have your channel monetized. And I think the first iteration of the general monetization stuff was you need 1,000 subscribers, or maybe even 10,000. The bar has come down quite a bit in the last few years. But you need a certain number of subscribers, and then there are some secondary requirements. You need a certain number of, you need to have uploaded, I think, 3 videos in the last 90 days. Or if we're talking about this, let's have a look. Because I have a YouTube channel, I upload regularly or semi-regularly. Let's have a look what the requirements for monetization are. Because I can tell you there is no play going on in Port of Spain at the moment. So let's have a look at the eligibility for monetization. Showing data as of July 28th, 2026. You need 500 subscribers. You need 3 video uploads in the last 90 days and one of the following. Either 3,000 qualified watch hours in the last 365 days on your normal long form videos, or 3 million qualified shorts views in the last 90 days. So those are the hurdles for monetization. And if you do not clear those hurdles for monetization, YouTube will not play ads before your videos. If I watch my own videos on my phone, on my YouTube app, with my personal account, because let's face it, this is not my only account. And I have good reasons for not having only one account. I also have an account for a channel where I talk about science fiction, horror, fantasy, and stuff like that, mostly in German. So and that doesn't really work on this cricket channel. So I have a different account for that, which is fine. I'm not trying to obfuscate my identity. YouTube knows that I am the same person. It is just done to keep the character, or to keep a clear separation between my different interests, which is, I think, fine. But I can't monetize my channel yet, but an AI run or AI generated channel with 50 subscribers. My channel is small. I have 106 at the moment. So that is small. And half of that is tiny. But because it is AI generated and uploads every single fucking day, YouTube says, yeah, okay, here, have monetization. It is rules for thee, but not for me. And that is really, really, really annoying. You can probably understand why I'm a bit annoyed with that. Having a look at the screen, nothing else has happened. Apparently, the covers have come off, as Brian in Brisbane also tells me. I don't know if they will extend the morning session, but let me just grab another carton of iced coffee from the fridge in my basement, and I will be back with you in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. I will be back. I'm back. Sorry, everyone, but had to be done. Let's have a look at what is going on, and maybe, sorry, about me ranting a bit about the way YouTube does stuff, but apparently lunch has been called, and yeah, I mean, let me have a look. Should have been called about 8 minutes ago. The match officials have deemed it time for lunch at 12 o'clock. So at high noon, it has been called lunch in Port of Spain. I got another carton of probably the cheapest iced coffee you can get. No, not the cheapest, but it is really hot here in Germany. So yeah. Anyway, I'm not listening to the sound of the coverage. But I am actually tempted because we have Ian Bishop, a lady I don't really know because I'm not that. I haven't watched that much West Indies broadcasting. So it's just ignorance on my part. I don't really know her name. I haven't seen her all that much, or if ever. But we have Ian Bishop and Carlos Brathwaite. So we have remember the name and the name to be remembered on the screen at the same time, which I find quite amusing. I don't know what you think about this, but to me, this is quite funny. Do we have any other stuff that we have to go over? Because I mean, now there is 40 minutes of lunch, and at this point in time, 30 more minutes of lunch to come. I don't think I will go through the next session. So yeah, I guess during the lunch break I'm not going, or this broadcast will not last into the next session. But I have to admit, even though I don't know who that lady in between Ian Bishop and Carlos Brathwaite is, and I know how perverted that sounds, she's wearing a West Indies branded polo dress. And I think they should probably sell that. I'd buy one. Yeah. Anyway, now what I was going to talk about was the my most recent video about selecting an all-time all-Sharmas 11, and there has been some feedback about the impact sub bench. How would I construct that? And I said in the video, I'm not going to do that because I found 22 players named Sharma who have played IPL cricket. If I select 11 for a playing 11, and then also select a 5-player impact sub bench, or let's be honest, you would need to select 2 5-player impact sub benches. And that means that you would probably not have about 2 or 3 or maybe 4 players named Sharma that are not involved in any way, shape, or form. And I think that is not what that was about. I think my team that I selected in the end is a viable team. It's not necessarily made up of the statistically strongest T20 players or IPL players named Sharma from India. But I think to people that pointed out to me, how can you have Ishan Sharma in that team? I have to say, I mean, I made that clear in the beginning that this is my team, and this is a team that I select the same way that I put together an army list for a tabletop game. You have some people you have to pick. You have some necessities to fulfill, like you have to have a captain, you have to have a wicket keeper, and after I've done that, I then go on to pick stuff I just like, models I just like, and that is Ishan Sharma. And once I have those pieces in place, I then build my army list or my cricket team around those pieces. And I still think that Ishan Sharma is not a bad bowler. We make fun of him. He looks gangly. He has a very pronounced Adam's apple, and people have said that he sounds like Kermit. Yeah, sure. But I mean, can you really make fun of a guy who, for a 2-year stretch, was probably one of the best, if not the best, test bowlers in the world? Who played 100 test matches for India as a pace bowler before India had their pace bowler revolution. He was the one that made Jasprit Bumrah possible. I talked to Ajit a few weeks back. Last time I was on the Armchair Cricket podcast, and we were talking about it was the episode after Sir Gary died, Sir Garfield died, and we were talking about Sir Garfield was not part of the all-conquering West Indian team under Clive Lloyd and Vivian Richards, but without Sir Garfield, those all-conquering West Indian teams under Clive Lloyd and Vivian Richards would have Sir Vivian would have never happened. They would have never happened. And in the context of Indian pace bowling, Ishan Sharma is not Sir Garfield. That honor probably goes to someone like well, before him, Zahir Khan, obviously. Kapil Dev, he was an all-rounder, so yeah, that's a bit of an edge case or something like that. But Ishan Sharma was really, really good in his day. I still have a recording on my cell phone of that day at Lord's 2014 when he took his career best 7-4-74 in Test cricket, and it is saved on my cell phone as the Ishan show, and it's just the TMS recording of the Test at Lord's, and India are up against the wall, and then MS Dhoni just decides, okay, I will bowl Ishan Sharma into an early grave in 2014. I will bowl Ishan Sharma into an early grave, and India win the match, and 8 years later, Ishan Sharma will be for about 1.5-2 years will be the best pace bowler in the world by popularizing the right arm around the wicket tactics to left-handers. I mean, his bunny is Sir Alistair Cook. He is not a numpty. Alistair Cook was at the time the leading run scorer for England, and his wicket has been taken, I don't know how many times, by Ishan Sharma, but no one took his wicket more times than Ishan Sharma. And funnily enough, Ishan Sharma was also Sir Alistair Cook's bunny, because Alistair Cook famously only took one test wicket at an average of 6, and that was Ishan Sharma's wicket, because he took his wicket to end the 2018 series between England and India. So let's have a bit of a look at the YouTube chat before we wrap it up. Brian Brisbane says, okay, sorry, have to go. Visitors for tea. See you later. Yeah. Thank you, Brian. And thank you, everyone else who was tuning in to this live chat. I hope you did not regret tuning in to this live chat. But we are in the lunch break at Port of Spain. Again, thank you very, very much for listening to this hangout stream. Amazing. And please do not forget to leave a like below this video. Don't forget to subscribe to this video if you don't want to miss anything here. Check out the playlist tab on this channel. There is a very, very helpful playlist called English language content that is full of English language content, as the title suggests. If you speak German, run hog wild over this channel. And yeah, thank you very, very much. And I hope to see you in the very, very near future. And that is, oh, just one more thing. Check out the channel description. There is a link to my Discord. If you would like to keep in touch there, that's great. There is also a link to my Blue Sky account. So if you want to stay in touch there, that is also good. And yeah, that is probably more one for the German speaking audience. There is also a link to my Substack newsletter, which is in German. And you can subscribe to that. So if I write another article, if I do something like that, it will fly into your email inbox. But that is that is in German. So if you're German, or if you have German friends that you want to get hooked on cricket, please recommend me, and I will see you in a bit. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.